is rocking the house, man.
Britt was like, this proves that we know nothing. And I was like, you're right, because we were recording this. We were both like, well, this is gonna bomb. I mean, and it was hard. That's the hardest show we've done.
Right.
Because I didn't know we could even get the FM stuff. I thought I could. Months ago, when I was like, yeah, go ahead and put that on the wheel. And much like we said in the show, you put this stuff on the wheel, and you never think you're going to have to play it, and then wham. Mm-hmm. And Brent had some shit printed out. I don't know. I've never even heard of this stuff, and I'm me. It's like the PCFX4A. It's like, what's that? So when we rolled the TI this week, I don't know if you watched the show, but he just buries his hand. He's like, no.
Well, it's funny because that's been on the wheel forever, hasn't it? I think I printed out that one.
I don't remember if I think he printed that one.
Okay.
We talked about it.
Hey, Ricky, how's it going, man?
Hey, Ricky. I'm just gonna stop. I heard a god-awful song from Paul McCartney today, and I'm sure Wings were involved. Something about being on Junior's farm or something garbage. You ever heard that one?
No. Junior's farm?
Man, if you hear the second Paul McCartney left the Beatles, that's why Ringo moved so far ahead of him in my eyes.
I still kind of like some of his solo stuff.
I don't.
I mean, it is cheesy, but I like the cheese.
I don't like it. And his face got fatter and he got weirder looking.
I mean, you're no basket of fruit yourself.
Listen,
man.
I'm not out there trying to sing, am I?
Yeah, well, in a way.
Oh, should I sing? I'll sing some stuff here. Allow me to cover his Christmas selections.
I think we discussed last week.
I'll shut this show down.
Hundreds of thousands of dollars a year from
simply having a big old fat weird looking face.
He doesn't have a fat looking face anymore though. I mean, he's had good work done. He looks good for being about 160 years old.
It's like I said, Ringo hasn't changed in like 35, 40 years.
That's true.
Beard, sunglasses, ponytail, walking around. That's what I like. I'm a Ringo guy.
Yeah, he's a man after your own heart.
That's right, man. He had country albums, he had jazz. They don't give a crap. Whatever. I think he just walks into the studio and it's like, what kind of session guys you got? Well, what do you got there? The big band. All right, here we go. He's going to do some Sinatra. You know, that's a good way to be because he didn't need the money. What does he care?
That's true.
They're like, want to be in the Wolverines? Yeah, all right.
I feel like if you're a hardcore fan of Ringo, the music is sort of, what's recorded is sort of beside the point.
He's got my favorite Beatles songs too.
What's that? Don't Pass Me By?
Well, I like that. But I think Octopus's Garden
is a good one. He worked on that song for like 7.5 years.
That's all you need, and it shows.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of crafting in that.
I'm a big Ringo fan.
I like Ringo too. I like all the Beatles.
I like the fact that when Ringo was going to quit the band, they were like, "We can't exist without you." And This is Ringo. And I mean, if you listen to the Beatles album, I think he had like 1 or 2 drum solos on every album. There was just that. And it was like, they're like, "That's a solo." The rest of it, but they said he kept perfect time.
Oh yeah,
that's all he did.
It was one take. That was the thing.
But he was above competent. He's a good drummer. The Beatles didn't need a lot of drumming.
Yeah. Well, not everybody.
It's not Metallica.
Yeah, not everybody needs a sort of Keith Moon like guy. And if you notice, all the great drummers that were wild and crazy, they're no longer with us.
Yeah.
Ringo had some reserve.
Who was the dude that was in Bonham? Yep. That's another guy. Who absolutely out of his mind.
They never determined whose vomit it was he choked on.
Probably best left not knowing.
Yeah. Hey, Edvin, how's it going, man?
See that note right there? Literally, that's why I was a few minutes late. That came up at the 11th hour. That's Sinbad.
Let's see here. Let's get the chat visible.
What's up? That's too big.
That's not too big.
That's it. He got it. I didn't want to burden you with hearing me sing the rest of it.
See, Necronom's with me.
What's up, fellas?
I love Band on the Run. I think that's a great song. You don't like Band on the Run? That's a great song.
Not really. It's okay. The chorus is good, but that part sucks. I hate that.
I think I'm mixing it up with the other song.
You are. I was wondering what you were singing. That's not a Paul McCartney song. I thought you knew a ton about the Beatles. I don't really want to match wits with you. I thought you were going to make me look like a jerk.
I mean, you can't argue with that.
Nope, you win.
All right. You ready?
Have we done our test yet? Our audio test?
Oh,
you're like, mic up. It's time for this audio test. So I'm mic'd up.
Okay.
Prepare yourselves. This is gonna be one of those break glass moments.
So we need
That's
to go
right,
to
Ricky.
Our audio input capture here. All right. Now give me a big nose inhale. All right. Now don't give me the exhale.
I have to exhale.
Well, exhale quietly. Okay. Never mind. It wouldn't work. I was going to see if there was a way that we could...
Listen, in the wintertime, I'm congested.
No, I'm not. It
drives me nuts, too, when I listen to it. I'm like, man, why am I on this show?
No.
Is this the best you could do? Can you get Alexa to do it? You could talk to her.
That would, no. I don't think she knows much about the Amiga. I think she was an ST.
I think she was an Amiga.
She's my Amiga.
What's on the docket today? Got any good stuff?
Yeah, we got lots of good stuff. We got Shadow Fighter.
You know how we on ARG we get the actual boxes. This is what.
Jason, I'm so glad you've joined us. Jason has been nose to the grindstone at work. I don't know if you've noticed since you're rarely on the Discord.
I'm on there more than anybody. I'm on there all the time.
He is. He's been working hard, burning the candle at 12 ends.
Yeah, don't burn yourself out, dude. That's it. Ricky's on fire. That's what I mean. The Amiga Say command. That's what Alexa matured into. Isn't that nice?
It is nice.
It's not. It's horrible. But that's the way it printed out.
I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to, when you say something.
You know, I got a lot to say about this game.
Okay, well, you want to start the show?
Do you have something for the other part?
Yeah.
Oh, we already have a topic for that?
You mean insert this too? Yeah,
that's right.
We're going to do the freaking Capcom thing. The thing we spent like 8 years discussing on Discord?
Oh, yeah. I've got our Discord chat here, so I can go back and look at my notes. I didn't put much thought into it after that.
My mic is technically on, yes. Is it too low? I see that it is. How is that? That's probably better, right? Aaron sounds much clearer. Well, he does have a more enunciating like voice.
I can sing!
Is that better now? I've turned my gain up. Hey, Treyguard. How's it going, man?
You know, this summarizes us as people, right? I'm drinking the lowest gutter. Oh, wait, I'm actually not drinking the lowest guttural drink you can get, and you're drinking fine wine from like a fine glass.
It's only the finest wine that came out of a box.
My God.
That I bought at Walmart for $8.88.
What's it like to live like a Rockefeller? That must be awesome.
It is. It's very nice. Uh-oh, a bit too loud on my end now.
I feel like I should be, you know, dusting off your sweater, cleaning your shoes.
How's this, guys? Is that better? I can make fine adjustments as necessary.
I think Edwin's what he's trying to say is unplug your mic.
Just leave.
And then set the camera back to the way it was.
Treyguard's in Wales right now.
Man, how's Jonah?
Oh, man.
You get it?
You're hilarious. You're so on fire tonight.
Thank you. You got hours of this.
Yeah. I was watching something Welsh the other day. It was Tom Jones.
It was jelly. Well, you know, Welch's grape jelly.
No, that's Welch.
Yeah, oh,
not Welsh.
Gotcha. Oh, I got you. Sorry.
So Retro Man Cave is with us. New Patreon supporter, Retro Man Cave.
Oh, hey, what's up?
Retro Man Cave. I'm drinking some Cab Sav, some Cabernet Sauvignon. When was the last time you sat down with a fine glass of wine, Aaron?
That would have been New Year's Eve a few years ago. I mixed all the Mad Dogs together.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
All the Mad Dogs.
I'm a big fan of the Mad Dog orange and grape or plum.
Fortified wines, they call it.
Yes, sir. And then, of course, occasionally, after a fine meal of White Castle, I'll sit down with a bottle of Ripple or Night Train.
You know, I've never had Night Train before.
Really?
So I feel like maybe on our New Year's Eve show, how many Night Trains do you think I should safely consume?
I would say none. I would say none. I have a feeling this. I was looking at this the setup for this 4th of July. The setup for this New Year's thing. This is going to be Marathon Junior. I am not going to hold back on this one. I'm in a fine mood. This has been a good year. I'm gonna get some bourbon. I'm gonna set it right here, or wherever we end up setting up on the couch, or whatever we end up doing. I don't know who you got coming down here. I'm gonna set some bourbon out, and I'm going to partake in some fine booze, and maybe have some pretzels or something, because I can eat while we're doing the show.
Yeah, people love it when people eat on podcasts.
That's right.
They can't get enough of it. This is a domestic wine. I believe this comes from the Napa Valley of California.
How snooty!
It's Oak Leaf Vineyards. So,
Wonder where the Mad Dog vineyards are. The back end of Detroit,
Right.
the reclamation zone, where the buildings
pond
have fallen
where
in.
Yeah, where they emptied all the waste.
Where they bottle Mad Dog.
Man,
We're killing Detroit. We got no one up there, do we?
no.
God bless those long-suffering people. Hey, much like the people in Detroit, we also have bad water.
That's true.
We got that in common with them. So
There's a couple things we've got in common. Half their drug dealers come here to sell.
good. Point. Really, we're very integral to their economy.
Right.
I didn't think about that.
Oh, I do love the Shiraz. That was my previous wine. There's nothing better than kicking back with a fine glass of wine, some intimate friends,
Man, we
and
gotta-
a candlelight supper.
There's a lot of wine snooty types that I feel out of place here.
Well, is this the first time?
Boy, you really had to go there, didn't you? Yeah, no, it's not.
I mean, we're really a cut above here on the
Oh,
Amigos.
yeah.
There's only a few of us that sort of bring down the vibe.
I'm not a big wine guy. I'm not gonna lie. I've tried. I mean, I can drink wine.
Sure. It's just not something, if you're going to sit down with an adult beverage, it's not going to be wine.
I mean, I can put on a suit too, but it doesn't make me look like a businessman.
Man,
You know what I'm saying?
You look pretty good when you dress up for court.
No, I don't. You can't polish a turd, Boat. I know what I am.
I don't know.
Listen to me. I know. Let me get this thing.
That's a great question. Tragard asked if we can get veal over here.
veal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Can we?
I don't know that I've seen it.
Veal? Why wouldn't we?
Well, I mean, I'm just thinking about like Kroger or someplace.
You mean, can me and you get
Yeah.
it? Yeah, I think so. Kroger's has got it, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. I've never had veal, I don't think. Have you?
I've had it, like a veal cutlet. It's like
Yeah.
baby
I don't know.
cow. That's all it is, baby cow.
We like the cows to get old before we hack
That's
them
true.
down.
That's true.
Oh, we got to talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah.
What a marked improvement, sir.
Yes, very much. Thank you to Jason Warren. for
Absolutely,
that.
man. He's a machine.
He is.
All the crap he's been doing, he fit that in. Good God! All right, I've got the Gambletron 5000 ready to go here.
Okay.
I've got my accoutrement.
Okay. Let's do
I'm
it.
ready.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Amigos. I'm John.
And I'm Aaron.
And today we're going to be talking about Shadow Fighter. But before we get into Shadow Fighter, Aaron, there's a couple things we need to discuss. The first thing is that there are still some of you out there in listener land that has not voted for the best Amigos games of 2018. You need to get on that. Find the link that I've posted on Twitter or Facebook or Google+. Click on it. It will take you to a Google form. And then vote for your favorite titles. That we got all the different categories, you know, best adventure game, best licensed title, the hot mess of 2018, which is, unfortunately, I'm not available to be voted for on that one. So you better vote, and vote now.
You know, the categories are vast, and you ever watch the or the Oscars when it gets into like the third big hour, and it's like best sound man with a mustache that walks with a limp that wears a toupee.
A little specific, yeah. So make sure you get on there and vote because the voting cutoff is going to be 1 week from today. So make sure you get your vote in. And of course, all the results will be announced on our New Year's extravaganza this year. And we've got some special stuff in store for that show.
That's going to be a monster show.
It
could be our biggest show ever.
It's going to be freaking-tastic. I also want to point out, Aaron, we got a new iTunes review. This review comes from the UK, iTunes UK.
iTunes in the UK.
It's like the dark side of the moon.
It is?
Yeah, because we got the iTunes USA, which is all we ever see in the iTunes UK. It rotates.
But you've got a
with
special
the Earth.
gimmick here.
I've got a special
Very
gimmick.
good.
The title of this review is International Retro Superstars. So, speaking of us, I assume. He says there are millions of podcasts out there, but very few of them are about the classic British machine, the Amiga. And only one of them is from two hard-working guys from West Virginia. Get an honest opinion on our old games without bias, learn about the latest retro news, and have a great laugh into the bargain. There's so many episodes to go at, too. Only Amigos makes it possible. Thank you, Pixels at Dawn, for that lovely iTunes review. And if you have not left us an iTunes review yet, please, please, please do. That is the #1 way that we can grow our listenership on the old audio format. So thank you. Thank you very much, Pixels at Dawn.
He's a ringer. He's
He
a
is.
ringer. Thank you, Pix.
All right, Aaron, it's time. I hear it. It's time to load, get on board, load the cargo. The gamble train is approaching the station. Let's hear the latest in this week's Amiga News.
Okay, well, you're sort of like the robot. So, I actually managed to do something this week, Boat. I got off my lazy butt and wrote stuff down, and even you added some stuff here too, which I find remarkable. So, in fact, you've got the first gimmick here. You want to talk about whatever this is?
Sure. So this is a hat tip to our man Figgy CTZ.
The Fig.
He sent us this message. There is a open source port of Cannon Fodder available right now. So this is custom levels. This is custom loadouts. Everything you want. Check this out. You can find this at openfodder.com. They have Windows, Unix, and I guess it's just Windows and Unix versions.
That's all you need.
Yeah, that's all you need. And so check this out. If you're a fan of Cannon Fodder, I'm going to give this a shot later on this week.
That's something, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, there's probably all kinds of crazy stuff set up for it.
Absolutely.
Very good. I
Thanks,
approve
Figgy.
of that. Beautiful, man. Next on the docket here. This is straight from our good buddies over at Indie Retro News. Amazon Software's colorful new platformer Coco Banana is taking pre-orders, and I believe there's a demo for it. There's a little gimmick right there. Have you looked at this number here? Of course, you go right to there we go. So it looks like a wow. That looks pretty good, doesn't it? You got a dinosaur there, or alligator, I think.
Yeah, and it's kind of a platformer with some parallax scrolling, because I mean you can't have an Amiga game without parallax scrolling.
Listen,
and
you gotta have that.
Yeah, and yeah, this looks really good. This looks like my kind of game. You know, I'm a fan of the platformer.
Yeah, it's cutesy.
Yeah,
look at that foreground stuff.
Yeah.
You're right, there's multiple layers of parallax. Those are the best kind of layers, multiple. So that looks pretty good. So if you're into that, you can link it up on our soon-to-be extinct Google Plus page. We'll talk about that later. And we've got it linked up. And like I said, I think there's a demo of this out you can go tool around on. Now, here's something I just dug up from another one of our good friends over at Vintage is the New Old. Ooh. Although I wrote it out, Vintage is the Old New, which I had to go back and change. So it doesn't matter, does it? I don't even know.
I think they've got an acronym like BitNo or something like that.
Paulo has highlights from the recent 2018 World of Commodore in Toronto, Canada. So if you're looking to see what they're doing up in the Great Wide North, it looks like they had a pretty good turnout up there. And have you flipped through these picturinos yet?
You know, I'm flipping through them right now.
Yeah, and he writes a full description of what's going on.
Looks like they had a really nice crowd.
Yeah. Hey, listen, Canada is Amiga country up there.
It is. It is.
Those are fine folks up there. Long winters, kicked back with the Amiga, playing some games, rendering some stuff, and generally being cool.
Drinking some brews.
Hey, you know it. You know that. So there you go if you're interested in that. Okay, next on the docket. Now, this one here, readretro.com. I've never heard of this site. This popped up on the radar. Commodore Amiga lives on with 5 new games, and it goes on to talk about these games, and some of these we've talked about. I like it when I dig up a new site that's talking about Amiga stuff, and so if you're interested, it's at readretro.com. You ever heard of that one?
I've not heard of these guys. However, the guy that puts together these videos, he is on it. Whatever kind of, this is Saberman, I think is his YouTube channel. He is, whenever a new game is released, he instantly creates a video and puts it online.
I think he's got the inside track.
Yeah, I applaud his efforts for sure.
Yeah. I'll skip to that. Okay, well, we might as well talk about this. So we mentioned, I guess it's a couple episodes ago, that we're going to be migrating off of Google Plus next year, late in the year. Well, now we're going to be migrating off Google Plus earlier in the year because they found a very stupid flaw in Google Plus that's giving away information, and so they're shutting it down early. We've got somebody on that, don't we, Boat?
How do you feel about all our Amiga news being leaked to the Russians?
Listen. That would probably help the world be more peaceful.
That's true.
I think.
That's true. Amiga rings the world together.
I don't have a problem with it. That said, comrade, we've got top men working on a replacement that we're going to start using, and I'd say we'll probably migrate to it as soon as possible, and I'll probably do both for a while until Google Plus buys it. So, what are you gonna do? We need to get off Google Plus anyway. It's been dead as a doornail for a while.
That's true.
Now here's something from our good pal Pixels at Dawn. Laird's Lair. It's hard to say. Laird's, which God knows I've watched about 400 million of his videos. He goes to the Retro Computer Museum in Leicestershire to take a...
Leicester?
Oh, is that what I said? Did I pronounce... Oh, there's no sheer at the end, is there? Is there a Leicestershire? Did I just make that up?
No, there's Worcestershire
no Leicestershire
sauce.
Leicestershire.
Yeah, it's spelled sort of like that, but you don't say it like that.
Oh, well, dadgummit. Anyway, he goes to Leicester. Mm-hmm. What's with all the I's and C's in there? What's going
England,
on?
Man. They got consonants to throw around.
It's like vowel scrabble. Let's throw it in there. Triple word score. Anyway, he goes to whatever this place is called to take a look at one of the only CD 1200 prototypes. Now we saw the guys over at Guru get the scoop on this as well, and I don't know if this is the same one or if it's a different one. There aren't too many of these around. They say I watched this video. And the fellow says, as far as they know, there were only 30 ever made, and they think most of those were destroyed. So it's possible that we're seeing
the only
one or two that are the only ones that are left. I wouldn't be surprised if this is the self-same one that we saw in the Guru Meditation.
Maybe so.
This one doesn't work. They don't have all the crap in it to make it go, you know. But they're hoping to take it apart, sort of like what the Amiga Love outfit's doing with the that Rejuvenator board, trying to take that thing out and scan it in and get all the data off of it, and then try to make it work.
Right.
It's a handsome unit. I think.
I love it. I think it's so cool.
And it would fit right in with your 1200. Of course, again, it extends your 1200 further across the desk. But at this point, we've got desks.
It continues its long march towards toward oblivion.
Yes, it's true. Okay.
You know who else is from Leicester?
I can't even say what I was going to say. Who?
Chris Fold.
Oh, that's where the fold was? I should know that. Yeah, you're right. Now, I just put this up today just because it's sort of Amiga related. Here's another site we never linked from.
Here's another site we never heard of.
Moviesgamesandtech.com. I wonder what they
URL.
do. Wonder what they cover.
Yeah.
They did a review of Gods Remastered. I remember hearing a lot about Gods Remastered, then I didn't hear nothing for a while. And I remember seeing a video of it, and it looks a lot like the old Gods, except smoothed out and
yeah, they haven't totally redone it. Like you said, it's remastered.
Well, you don't have to go crazy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But this thing runs. I mean, did you see what this is on? It's like the PS4, the Switch.
Really? So this is getting wide release. Boy.
Yeah. It's this is not an Amiga title. It's going to be released for other people. Now, you know, some people love Gods. Some people, I like Gods a lot. I recall you don't like it at all.
I hate it.
You didn't like the slow plotting game style.
Or the just general goofiness of your characters.
I enjoy. You love a lot of goofy. You are a goofy character.
I've got enough goofy characters in my life.
Well, I don't, so I enjoyed it. So anyway, they give this a 6.5 out of 10, I believe. Well, you know, listen. Make your own call here. But I'm just saying, it looks like it's okay. Will I get it? It's on Steam, so, you know, hey, if the price is right, or if the people over at, whoever made this, the people that made Gods want to send me a review copy, hint, hint, I'll be more than happy to have a go at it. Hey, I love me some Gods, so I'll give an honest review. But anyway, fetch your bag, go for it. Now, this one popped at the 11th hour. I literally saw this as I was leaving work from our good buddies over at Indie Retro News. The Atari ST version of Sinbad and the Throne of the Falcon gets an Amiga port by Maynaf. Now, I believe he's done some other ports of stuff from the ST, and here it is. I've never played this game.
I thought that you'd played every single Cinemaware game to completion.
This is one that I've not played. So, and I'll be honest with you, I thought the Amiga already had a version of this, but I guess it didn't. Or maybe this is just a better version. I don't know. Like I said, I haven't played it. So it's on the list. I'll be playing it now. And I like Sinbad. I like the movie and stuff. So it might be kind of fun. Hey, anything that gets ported over from the ST, that sounds good to me. Because, hey, remember they did that port of, what was not Karateka. Yeah, it was Karateka they ported over, and it ended up being really good. You know, maybe this will be good too. couple more items here. Speak of the devil, the man himself here is in the chat. If you follow the Retro Man Cave, like I do, he is up to part 3 of his Amiga 1500 rebuild. This thing came out of it was junked up. He's had to do a lot of work. So this time around, we're looking at doing some expansion. And what is
that thing?
What I like about it, that's a big old expansion board with a new processor.
That's crazy looking.
That's got a 68030 on it.
That seems like it could be its own computer.
Because the thing about the 1500 is it's exactly like a 500. It's just awesomer with a bunch of ports. It doesn't. The processor's the same. So what you got to do is, and what I like about this video is he shoots video of him playing some games without anything in it, all right? And he plays games, and including Wing Commander, which you recall. I did that video a while back of playing the Wing Commander on the 600.
A little rough on the 600.
It was a slideshow, let's face it. So what Retro does is he does a before and after, and the comparison, just like you're seeing if you're watching.
Unbelievable.
And well, of course, you're going from 68,000 to an 030, and you're adding a ton of memory, and it's the difference is quite remarkable.
Yeah, and this is the reason to upgrade. Like when we talk about, why upgrade, what is it? If my games can look that much better on a stock system,
yeah, there's certainly, and when you see Wing Commander, I mean, the difference is unbelievable. On top of everything else, it's more usable. And again, now most things play pretty well on a stock system. But here's another good example. He talks about rendering this stuff here. And if you watch the rendering on between the two systems, again, it's going from a 68,000 to an 030. It's a huge difference. It's a huge difference. So, but he did it with old classic accelerators, and everything in this is classic except for the GoTech. And so it's interesting if you're into the old stuff.
Yeah.
I would love to have an 030 or 040, but that stuff was so out of my reach in the old days, and now it's like triple. You couldn't get one on a bet. They cost a fortune.
Yeah.
And then plus you're in a position now where that stuff's getting so old, it could go at any time. So, and this is something we're all going to have to deal with in the coming years. I mean, now stuff's going to start fizzling left and right.
Memento mori.
It's good stuff from the main man, Retro Man Cave. Always good stuff over there. So let's go over some of the. Oh no, I almost forgot one thing. Remember a couple weeks ago the Nerd did a show on the CD32.
Oh, shoot. Man, I almost did it again.
Yeah. What are you doing, Bo?
Yeah.
So and then after the Nerd did the CD32 debacle, then they had our video pulled.
Right. We cannot show any Nerd videos.
So what does Boat do while I'm talking about this? He loads up the video.
Yeah. I just get on automatic pilot, man.
We don't want the Nerd.
We don't
lawyers.
need the legal team on us again.
Yeah, no.
Once was enough. Threatened with broken fingers.
It reminds me of Mr. Burns. He's got that. He pulls the lever, and there's a panel of lawyers coming at you. We don't need that. So anyway, the Nerd is back with part 2 of his Amiga beatdown. And this time out, he takes a look at what is actually a CD-TV title, The Town with No Name. Now, this is rather an infamous title for its suckery.
Yeah, I've been to the desert and all that stuff.
No,
right?
This is not that good.
Oh.
That's a horse with no name. This is The Town with No Name. It's also the programmers with no skill. Because this thing looks like I don't know what was going on here. I mean, this is, it's not good. And so it's ripe for the pluckings, which is okay. That's what he does. But what he doesn't do that I don't agree with, that actually filled me with much anger, because I sort of enjoyed the show, and I like his stuff generally. I mean, he's an idiot, but that's what he's supposed to be. But at the end of the episode, he blows up a CD32, and he burns it. He literally melts the CD32. Wow. I know there's a certain element that think that's amusing, or listen, I'm not going to be the stall. I'm not going to speak up for the whole Amiga Nation, but wasn't happy.
I'll speak up for the whole Amiga Nation. You shouldn't destroy consoles. It doesn't matter what they are. They have value to someone, and there are people that have worked their butts off to get some of this stuff. And to me, it's like I've always had a problem with Garth Brooks smashing up guitars on stage. It's like, there's lots of people out there that, would like to have a guitar.
Well,
and I don't know. Maybe I'm just old-fashioned, but I think that's lame, and it's not cool.
it was disheartening. I'm hoping it was one that didn't work, or it's the shell of one, or whatever. But
maybe it was 3D printed.
No, he melts the sucker down. The sticker you can and it was silly. And the thing is, I looked down in the comments, and people were like, "Woohoo, you're the man!" You know,
oh yeah.
There's a lot of slack-jawed, mouth-breathing troglodytes out there that think this stuff's hilarious. I was not amused. I don't like it when he does anything. But this isn't like you're blowing up a PlayStation. They made 4 billion of those. This is freaking a rare commodity. So I know. Listen, I told myself, like, you're not going to go off on this because it's stupid and no one cares. But it did piss me off. I'm not going to lie. I know I guess I'm that shallow. So let's talk about site news, Boat. First thing I want to mention is, I guess you're going to start doing this weekly, Boat. I guess this is the plan. If you miss a live week of our Amigos, like tonight, right now, I assume this is something that's going to get put up eventually.
That's right. So going forward, all full archives of the Amigos will be made available to the public. So if you want to catch our pre-show shenanigans, our during-show shenanigans, and our post-show shenanigans, all in one handy stream on one video on YouTube, just search for Amigos Live, and you can see it all. The outtakes, the missteps, the times Aaron beats me into submission. You'll see it all on Amigos Live. So, yeah.
That may have to happen one of these days. Yeah. So, I mean, some people miss the live stream and they get a kick out of it. Also, don't forget that it also includes all the chat.
That's right. That's a major reason why I did it, is because we have all this chat going on, and I hate to lose that record after the show goes live. So, if you just want to watch the Amigos part, that's still going to be available to you on YouTube in an audio form. But if you want to see the whole ball of wax, the whole kit and caboodle from soup to nuts, I'm out of analogies, you can find it on YouTube.
I like that. Well said. Well said. So we also recorded a crazy, it got over our last episode of Insert Disc 2, which we talked about.
That's Insert Disc 2.
Yeah, we talked about the 1-Up Arcade machine I saw at Walmart. We talked about the PlayStation Mini, among other things. By the way, it's funny, we weren't prolific when I said this, but that thing's been fully hacked now. Totally play the game you want. Now people have turned, they kind of like it.
Well,
like,
the ultimate irony is that the SNES Classic apparently plays PlayStation games better than the PlayStation
I've heard
Mini,
that. Listen,
so.
I'm assuming we're going to get into this later because I've got yet more idiot conversation to talk about on that. So
stay tuned
in for Insert Disc 2 where we continue the conversation on that because there's more to come. Last week, me and the Brent tackled a machine that was hard as hell to emulate. We took on the FM Towns Marty. I was actually interested in messing with the Marty because, which I'd love to touch a Marty, or I love to touch an FM Marty. I got to be careful.
Marty.
I like to touch an FM Towns Marty or play with one because it's really a unique and interesting system. It's a shame that it didn't do very well because it's an interesting blend of arcade ports and PC ports. So it's quite a bit. The story of the FM Towns Marty is very similar to the Amiga. The FM Towns was a PC, then they consoleized it into the FM Towns Marty, much like the CD32 we were just talking about with the Nerd was a consoleized version of Amiga 1200. They have a lot of similarities.
Well, I think there are a lot of companies that try to do a consoleized version of
but I mean, if you think about it, they came out the exact same time. That's what makes it interesting. The FM Towns Marty only beat the CD32 out by a few months, and that's why it's the first system with a CD. Yeah, and there were so few made. Again, I also like the CD32. So anyway, we had a good time with it. It's been a pretty well received episode. Now this coming week, much to Brent's delight, we're going to tackle as American a system as you can get. From the big state, the Lone Star State, we're going to be tackling the Texas Instruments TI-99 4A this week. It's our foray into the 4A.
I hope that's the episode title.
No, I don't title them. I'm not that creative. So it'll be a lot of fun. Brent was so delighted. He sunk his head down on the ground and pleaded for help. He was so appalled. So that's what we'll be covering this week. See, do I have anything else here? Bo, you got anything that you can think of that we missed here?
I don't think so. I guess I can mention this now rather than at the end of the show. We do have a new URL for our T-shirts. If you go to everythingamiga.com/swag, you can go right to the store. Thank you to Jason Warnes for making that shortcut so you don't have to type in a hyphenated mini character URL to find our stuff.
Thank you, Jason, very much. We appreciate that.
Aaron, are you ready to tackle the beast that is Shadow Fighter?
I'm ready to tackle the beast. I really am. You ready to go?
I'm ready.
So, the game selection committee this week spoke out, and I don't know how close it was, but for us, they picked Shadow Fighter. It's amazing to me, I'll say to preface this, that I have not ever played this before. I'd heard the name, I knew of it, but I'd never played it. You know, I'm a fighting game fanatic. And especially amazes me is when I look over the reviews and the scores on limits of it. It's so highly regarded that I don't know how I missed it. It came late, real late in the game. So I'm assuming I was out before it got out. So
you were playing that One Must Fall crap thing that you were always talking about when you had a real.
You've never played One Must Fall, have you? In your whole life, you've never played it once. So we're gonna ignore most of what Boat says. Keep drinking, pal. So anyway, Shadow Fighter came out. It actually was released, and there were 3 different releases of this Boatster. This had an AGA release, an original chipset / ECS release, and of course a CD32 release. Now, I looked at the CD32 release. I don't know which one you looked at.
I looked at the AGA version.
Okay. The AGA version.
Oh, I played both the ECS and the AGA, but I spent most of the time with
Okay,
AGA.
good, because I didn't get to try the OCS one. On the AGA version was 4 discs, and the older one, the OCS ECS, was 4 discs, and the CD, of course, was 1 CD. So this came out in. I saw several release dates for this, so I don't know if they released these staggered or how they did it, but the mostly agreed upon release date for this is February 19th, 1994, although some places had it listed as coming out in 95. So I don't know if, I'm assuming some of the other versions came out first. This was published by Gremlin. Of course, Gremlin published a million things. It was developed by an outfit called NAPS, N.A.P.S.
Right, which I'd never heard of them.
Well, that's all they ever did on the Amiga, and I'll get to them in a little while. Everyone that worked on this pretty much didn't work on anything else on the Amiga, except for the music guy who did, among other things, Zool 2. He did the music for that. So there wasn't a lot of, this was their baby on the Amiga. You can play 1 or 2 players. You can play 2. You can fight each other. It's a fighting game. We should mention that. So, what is Shadow Fighter? And I want you to think back into that kind of early to mid '90s era. Fighting games were all the rage. You got to have one, right? And we've talked about that. And the Amiga was light in that area. Now, eventually, you would have Fighting Spirits, which we both really enjoyed. And you also, of course, you had that god-awful Street Fighter 2 that came out. And you had
Body Blows.
Body Blows series, which, and Primal Rage eventually came out in Mortal Kombat.
So you really had them all.
You had, well, with various degrees of success.
Sure.
We could agree with that. And Elfmania is another one. And so this game was released in that environment, and it sort of shares attributes of some of those games. All right, so you can tell some of the stuff they put in to meet the needs of that era. Okay, so I printed this story. This thing has a backstory, which I'm not going to read this whole backstory.
I never noticed because I never looked at the manual that was in the original font, but it's total Star Trek font on the title.
Oh yeah, and I'm holding it up here. I printed it out from the manual. So, and I want to thank, as we always do, Lemon Amiga and Hall of Light for the multiple bits of information. I use them all the time. So, basically, I'm going to summarize this long story because the story is kind of confusing. So, there's a samurai. He's honorable,
as they are.
But this demon wants his soul because internally this samurai has an inner turmoil. Part of him wants to be a world-conquering stud, but the honorable samurai part's like, no, we can't do that.
Boy, it's like looking in the mirror.
I know, and you've got the sword and everything. Yeah. So get this might affect you someday. So anyway, the demon rolls in. He sends in one of his goons, hired goons, and he says, he lays this sword at this guy's foot of his bed, okay, a shadow. And the shadow also has a globe of light, an orb, okay, and so the guy grabs his sword and he feels the power of super evil awesomeness, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm going for it." Right?
Oh,
so he becomes a big. He starts becoming a braggart, and the people that all liked him started not liking him because he was becoming a jerk, right? Now, and again, I'm trying to summarize this weird story. So basically, that same demon guy that was like, "Man, I want this guy's soul," he started not wanting his soul because the guy became a jerk or whatever. So,
like, tainted souls aren't as
he sort
valuable.
of cursed him to live forever or something. And so now this guy exists, and he's the body's decaying. But he's got eerie power.
Kind of zombie-like.
Real weird tale. If you read the docs, I mean, maybe you can make more of it than I did.
So he's the boss in this game.
He's the boss.
Yeah, Punta Cana or whatever.
His name is Kiyoya Mishumi. That was his samurai name.
But that's not the boss's name. The boss's name starts with a P.
Oh, no. He's the shadow fighter. The bald guy on the cover that's like, bleh, that's him. That's the guy. Okay. So you have to beat an assortment of guys. This game did not reinvent the wheel, did it, Boat? You've got, and this is another disputable fact. You've got a number of fighters that you have to beat, and then you can fight the guy. Okay, this game has your standard stuff. You can play a game where you just go through all the fighters and fight the end guy, and depending on which level of difficulty you pick. It will determine how many guys you have to fight before you fight the end guy. And if you play on easy, you can beat all the guys and you still don't get to fight the end guy. It's one of those gimmicks. Right? You can also do a one-on-one match with the computer opponent of your choice. You can also do a one-on-one match with a human. All right? The options for this are interesting. You can turn blood on and off. Blood in this is real tame, I'd say. It just sort of comes out and just lays there. I don't know where.
Well, if you remember, fighting games from this time, the blood was all kind of lame,
Well, this game's not what I would call, like, I would not have a problem letting my kid play it. It's not like they're caked in blood. It just, blood just sort of shows up.
Mortal Kombat's like that, too.
Yeah, but Mortal Kombat's much more violent than this. It's got, it's got the
fatalities and stuff like that.
That's right. You could turn the blood on and off, and I said, to me, the blood sticks around, so but I mean, it's kind of goofy to me. And that's really the only violence. You can turn it on and off. You can also turn, it's got, the CD32 version had music and sound effects. Or you could turn off the music and have sound effects plus like background noise. Which I thought was interesting. The other version,
I didn't investigate the AGA version. I just played it with the music and the sound effects on.
Yeah, I turned off. I thought the music was okay, but it was nothing to write home about. It was okay, but I liked it. I kind of liked the background noise and the sound effects. I thought that was, and that's weird to have that. I don't think I've ever seen a game that let you just have turn on like ambient noise and just like whatever stage.
Because in a lot of games there is no ambient noise.
Yeah, so I thought that was kind of neat. This game has a ton of passwords, which I used liberally to get through. I'm sure you used them too, to cheat. So you're probably thinking to yourself, how does this thing control? Well, you use your joystick or gamepad. In my case, I used the CD32 pad. Now, the funny thing about this game is, and I think this is one of my first problems with the game, despite the fact that this is a CD32 release that I played, it still only supports one button.
Right. It's the ultimate in lazy port.
Well, now I will admit that they do a lot with one button.
Sure. But that's no excuse for not incorporating more buttons when you have the option.
I guess the way they've got this game set up, that it would be a big hassle to
yeah, they'd have to not be quite so lazy.
Here's my... I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to fight you.
I mean, there's no excuse. There's absolutely no excuse.
It was unusual.
You wonder why the CD32 failed? This is yet another of the 1,000 reasons.
Listen, if I was to purchase this for CD32, okay, and I did look at the HA version, they're identical looking. I would purchase it on the basis that I could take my newly minted gamepad that had 6 buttons or more, 8, and I could use the buttons to play this fighting game. And so when you can't, it would be a real drag. There's no doubt about that. And so That's the first problem I've got with it. And another thing is, I don't think I'd want to try this on an actual joystick. It would be very. Did you use a gamepad to play it?
I use a gamepad.
Yeah, this would be extremely difficult on. It's hard on a gamepad. So I want to go over. I've got my little book here, and the reason I printed this little book out here was to. It's got all the fighters in it, and these fighters are a colorful bunch.
They are.
I want to go over some of them, and sometimes they're not colorful. Actually, a couple of them are sort of colorful. So, and I'm just gonna go through these briskly. You've got a basketball guy named Slam Dunk. He's from Denmark. Is basketball big in Denmark?
No idea.
So I'm guessing it is. He does basketball-based attacks. Now, this is the guy that I used all the time. I liked him, but he's. I know I've seen another basketball guy in another game. I believe it was King of Fighters.
I believe it was Shaq Fu.
Well. I didn't even think about that, but you're right. You're absolutely right. But also there's a basketball guy in King of Fighters, I think, and also there's a football guy in World Heroes. So this isn't the first time a sports guy.
Like an American football guy?
Well, actually, it's weird. He's a big football guy, and you can't see his face because of the helmet. You just see red eyes.
So it is American football, not like a soccer.
Oh, yeah, American football. So anyway, that's in World Heroes. Then you've got, that was Slam Dunk. Then you've got Electra from France. She does electric stuff.
Boogie, oogie, oogie.
Again, it's nothing that major. You've got Soria. He's the kickboxing world champ. He's from Belgium. So at least they covered their bases here.
Right.
Then you've got Jurgen. I didn't like Jurgen. He was German. He's a German cop, and he shoots at you. He's got a gun. That doesn't seem fair.
Well, there was the guy in Mortal Kombat that had a gun too. What was his name? Cyrex?
Well, I mean, they all had like lasers and stuff. But there was a guy that had a straight up gun. Yeah, I can't remember his name. Then you've got Cody from the USA. He's a Kudo arts master. He does he does your typical.
He's your Ken Ryu
sort of generic.
Yeah.
You know. I like this guy, Fakir. He's from Pakistan, and he does he's like a genie.
Right.
He has a magic carpet and
he can teleport.
He doesn't look that much like a genie, though. I mean, his body,
what does
his
a genie
face.
look like?
I don't know. It just didn't. He didn't look genie-like to me. I don't know what they look like.
Barbara Eden.
Well, he did look like that. Now, see, that was a missed opportunity.
I know. Where is the Barbara Eden?
We need to have our own fighting game.
Title?
Yeah. You got Salvador from Spain. This guy had he had this annoying attack called the Flashing Panther.
Oh yeah, that's no good.
And it was fast. It would come across the screen and be like, wow, and make a panther noise, you know.
It's sort of like Orchid in Killer Instinct.
Now here's another guy I like, Curry from Tibet. The game freely admits it doesn't know what this guy is. And he's not telling. He's just kind of weird.
You got to have some mystery in your game.
He's like a strategically shaped bear. You know, and he's a big freak. And I kind of liked him. I played him a few times. I played all these guys at least once. You've got Tony, that's with an I, from Italy.
Boy or girl?
It's a girl. She does like fire stuff. And then now this guy, I'm going to tell you how much I didn't like him. Lee Chin. He's a big, and the thing says he's a big fan of Bruce Lee. Well, no kidding. He looks like Bruce Lee. He does this kick where he puts his hand on the ground and just spins around in a circle. It sucked. I hated that kick, and he could just do it all the way across the screen.
It's sort of like Chun-Li's butterfly kick, right?
Well, no, it doesn't look like that, but it is. The effect is similar, except it's dumber, which I'll get to. You've got Manx. Manx, again, this is a call to the girl in Samurai Showdown. This is a wild cat girl. You know, and of course that's another thing that's been done to death, the cat girl.
The old cat girl.
Then you've got Top Knot. Top Knot's a Thai boxer. Just Thai boxing stuff. I should mention that Manx fights like a girl cat, claws and stuff, you know.
Makes sense.
Well, you know, yeah. I mean, again. Then you've got Yardo. It's his name, Yardo.
They were starting to run out of names.
He's from Mexico. He was born in the Mexican wild, and I like this. Yardo lived alone for many years, meditating with the old ones to learn the ancient Aztec powers of the soul.
The old ones? Aren't those the guys from H.P. Lovecraft?
Those are the great old ones, but yeah. Or the ancient. So anyway, this guy's electric stuff, which we've already seen one electric girl. So here's another guy. Then you've got Akira. This is the honorless samurai. This is
like rated.
Right. Now get this. This is actually the guy that the story was about, and then the guy you fight at the end is sort of the master of this guy. Now, if you look at the graphics in the game,
they don't look anything like the drawings.
Well, they don't. But if there's a guy in here,
everyone in the drawings appears to have like a 74-inch chest.
Well,
They're all puffed up beyond all recognition.
Anyway, the guy that has the Raiden hat It looks like they just took the hat and stuck it on one of the other pictures. I'm sure that's what they did.
There might be a chance.
Yeah, no, I guarantee you. If you look at the game, it just looks like they stuck a hat on him. You know, he does sword stuff because he's a jacked up samurai. And then you've got the main guy, the Shadow Fighter. He's a big, weird, dying guy. And you also, if you put in a code, you can play as Poop Eyes.
That's who I was talking about. He's the boss, right?
No, he's not the boss.
Oh.
Poop Eyes, he's the guy that in training mode, it's a training dummy you wail on that can attack you.
Oh, I thought he was the boss.
You can play as him, too. If you, it's not that much fun to play as Poop Eyes. So you've got to... I didn't like this cast of characters, I'll be honest with you. I thought they were derivative and sort of generic. I mean, say what you will about a game like Body Blows, but you've got like the fighting banker.
I disagree. Well, I disagree to a certain extent. There's a ninja, and his name is Ninja. And he screams ninja when he wins.
If he's fun to play, though. I mean, I like that guy. Well, we'll get into the... You're right. Body Blows isn't the best example. It's hard to be original in the realm of a fighting game, but some of these guys are kind of original, like Curry, a couple others, but it didn't do it for me.
You can't tell me that Yorda is not original.
No one's like Yorda. So you've got all the guys here. Here are all your fighters. This game boasts like 17, 18 fighters, tons of guys, okay? So how does it play? You know, I've been talking for a while. Why don't you chime in? You played this. How did it play for you? And what did you like and what did you not like?
So I could not wait to come in here and kill this game.
I was wondering which side of the fence you were going to fall on.
I heard that...
You're going to make me be good cop on this?
You didn't let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
I could not wait to come in and kill this game. I heard the name Shadow Fighter.
Yeah.
And I figured, boy, we've covered all the big fighting games on this platform so far. This has got to be the bottom of the barrel, just the worst. I couldn't have been more wrong. I loved this game. I thought this game was great. Now, this game is a one-button game.
Yeah.
Okay. There's only one button, so you just got to live with the fact that it's a one-button game. But this game, I could pull the moves off. I could do the moves with a degree of regularity. The game is beautiful. It is by far the best looking fighting game on the Amiga. I'm talking about the AGA version. The OCS version is pretty. The AGA version is gorgeous.
Was there a major difference on the two?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many more colors.
Oh, yeah.
There's so much more movement. The characters, like you said, the derivative. Hey, newsflash: every fighting game has derivative characters. I don't
not
count
everyone,
that against
but
it.
most of them, yeah.
The game is like the modes are plentiful. There's passwords, like you said, so if you can't get through something, you can find a way around it. You know, my biggest knock against it is that it's one button, and for the CD32 version, and even for the AGA version, because the AGA, as we all know, supported multiple buttons, they really should have changed that. But if you're looking at this game as this is a one-button fighting game on the Amiga, I have not played one that looked better or played better or sounded better that I had more fun with.
No. I'm going to disagree with you on a lot of that. I think Fighting Spirits looked better.
The sprites are larger in Fighting Spirits, I'll tell you that.
It played better. And here's my biggest problem with this game. It's not even the button situation, because they played the hand they were dealt to a certain degree. Again, they were lazy. And OCS can do 2 buttons as well. I mean, Lionheart has 2 buttons. But the problem with this game is the fundamental game. The actual balance, the gameplay, the amount of damage your attacks do is idiotic. It's an idiotic game, and this is the problem with this game. You can hit a guy with 3 fireballs and kill him. You can hit a certain move and kill a guy with 2 shots. The computer's an idiot, even on the hardest level. I mean, don't get me wrong, it can beat you, it can kick your butt, but it's generally, I mean, I could pummel the computer.
I think that's another reason why I liked it.
I could pummel the computer, but if it hit, there were several moves that the balancing was crap. That is the Achilles heel of this game. The graphics are okay. They're okay. I mean,
I can't believe you're calling the graphics in this game okay.
They're pretty good. I'm not going to kill the graphics.
The backgrounds in this are so detailed.
Some of them are. Some of them aren't. There's parallax scrolling. They did their homework on everything but the actual fundamentals of the game. This is what separates a game like a Fighter's History, or excuse me, Fighter's History. What was a good game? A Samurai Showdown or a Street Fighter game from all the other wannabes.
Oh,
it's
sure.
the balancing of the characters and the balancing of the damage that's done. I thought at first that I had, because I started on easy and worked my way up, and I thought that was what the problem was. It wasn't. It was irrelevant. This game has a balance issue, a big one. There are certain moves that do way too much damage, and I mean, I would be crushing a guy, and all of a sudden if the game would just end, I'd be like, what happened? He'd hit me with one move that took away 2/3 of my bar.
I think you've got a valid point. I mean, you can't put a game like this up against, Samurai Showdown or something like that, where the Japanese developers are the masters of the one-on-one fighting genre, and these European developers, I mean, they were trying to make something that looked like it, but I don't think they really understood the mechanics of what makes a balanced fighting game.
I agree.
And since you are, you're so well versed, that was probably more apparent to you right off the bat than it was
But even you had to notice games that would be over in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
I mean, you could end a round in less than 10 seconds. And this isn't Killer Instinct, where, I mean, it takes a guy that is, you can do the same thing, but it has to be someone that's super skilled and knows all the combos. This is just tossing a couple basketballs or whatever and knocking guys out. The characters, this game is a real, it's an odd-looking game to me. The characters have this reminds me, you were talking about One Must Fall. One of the things it does share in common with it is there's a pseudo-anime art style in some of the characters that just doesn't work. The characters in this are supposed to be like real hot chicks. They'll turn around for the butt shot or whatever, but they don't look sexy at all.
Very ineffective butt shot.
It looks like it's not that good.
I couldn't really even tell. I was wondering if she was actually turned around,
The girls got, what was it, Frank Fertitta? Had like the girls, was that who it was, the artist that liked the girls with the big, huge heinies? He probably liked a couple of these girls. Is that right? Is that Frank who it is?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
You never heard of that guy, the artist? Okay, well.
Is this an artist, in quotes?
No, he's super famous. Someone will help me out there. Frenetti or whatever his name is. But anyway, the art in this, the characters, some of the characters look better than others. They took some shortcuts, like I said, on some of the every fight you start, they put up a profile of the fighters. That's cool the first time. That you could have used that. I would rather see a picture of the fighters or something.
Let me ask you a question. Is this the only game that you can think of where the fighters immediately upon starting the match, they both jump backwards?
That's something else. I was watching video of this. And I'd seen it when we picked this, when this got picked, and I was like, okay, let's try this. And I wasn't anywhere near a computer that I could play it on, so I was like, I'm going to watch a video and just see what this looks like. And I kept seeing that. I was like, man, that's weird that they do that every time. I didn't know it's mandatory. Your characters both jump backwards instantly, which is, I mean, it doesn't mean anything, but it's still goofy to me.
Well, to me, it's kind of dumb because sometimes when you're playing a fighting game, you want to get the early jump in and you want to attack the guy right off the bat. So,
I have a fighting style often where it's like a rush in type style, and you're right. And this game, given the fact that you only have the one button, it's real easy to try to hit the wrong move.
Right.
And so when you're jumping in, if you're not careful, you will hose yourself instantly. It's a real hassle.
Another thing that was kind of an issue is that sometimes when you're doing like a fireball type move, if you press down, you'll kneel and you'll sort of remain in that kneeling stance, and that becomes an issue too. So again, they were trying to do all that they could with one button. It's not the best experience, but like I said, I can't think of a game where I was able to pull off the number of moves that I was in this game. Another thing that's helpful too is that this game has, I think, 6 total button and stick combinations. It's like A through G. I was looking in a magazine.
There's a lot of There's a lot of moves.
And if you learn those 6 combinations, you can do any of the moves with any of the fighters.
Yeah.
So I thought that was cool.
They do a lot with the one button, and I mean, don't get me wrong, it's cleverly done. But the problem with that is, when you do all that with one button, there's much more likelihood that you're going to screw up than when you have the multiple buttons to choose from. 2 buttons, to me, is at least a better number because at least you can separate punches and kicks or something. When you're in hot and heavy in the action, it's real tough to use the one button.
Absolutely.
And so when you're a serious fight fan, This is a game, we've talked this before. I was just talking to my buddy at work today about this. This is a game it's highly regarded. Okay, it's very highly regarded. I mean, and I'll get into it in a moment, but the review stuff are real high. But I mean, this is if you put this on any console, this would be sub-pedestrian. Like this would no one would play it. There would be a 0% chance because of the button layout and because it just of the basics in it. It's just an fundamentally unplayable game. Now with 2 people, which I didn't get to test, could be a different story.
I feel like at this time there were so many subpar fighters coming out on the consoles that this game probably could have squeaked by if it had multi-button support. They probably could have gotten something out the door. They could have tricked some people into buying this. On the box, it cracked me up. It says, "Who needs Mortal Kombat when you have this?" It says Amiga Magazine.
I saw that. This game promised additional fighters. Not only does it promise it at the end of the game, it says coming soon, additional fighters. I think that was in the ads or maybe even on the box. There were never any more released. And I looked around trying to get some information on it, and I couldn't find anything about it. So that's kind of a bummer. It would have been interesting because, I mean, they've got a pretty large roster. And I will say the characters are, for the most part, they're pretty different, I mean, it's different enough to where I'm not going to complain about that. I mean, you've got a good roster. The backgrounds they range from perfectly adequate to pretty good. I mean, and a couple that are really good, but nothing.
Like the subway one is just great.
Right.
With the train going by in the back.
There's some that are pretty good, but I mean, it's not like it's not going to blow you to smithereens. This game is tough for me, to be honest with you, because I debated a lot this week as to where I would rank this in the pantheon of Amiga games. And I'm throwing out the Mortal Kombats and stuff. I'm just talking about like your Street Fighters, your Fighting Spirits, your Body Blows.
Why are you throwing out Mortal Kombat?
Just different type of game, whereas you've got block as a button. And Mortal Kombat has a different vibe to me than the other fighting games. Mortal Kombat has its own sort of flawed system from the get-go, but in a different way. This game, does this look better than Body Blows AGA versions? Some parts of it do, I think the characters are I like the characters in Body Blows a little bit more. Actually, I don't like the characters in Body Blows Galactic too. So I mean, there are some characters that I like, but which one do I think is a better game? And it's tough. I think I would pick Body Blows just on the basis that it's flawed, but it's a better system. The fighting system is so bad that it really robbed me of the joy of it. Because otherwise, I'm like you. The backgrounds look nice. The parallax is nice. Multi-layers of parallax scrolling. The music was good when I had it on. The sound effects were good. The character selection was good. But it's really let down by the gameplay. And I just wonder how these scores came out that were so high when you've got this big, a huge fundamental flaw.
Maybe people that were playing Amiga games at the time weren't necessarily the biggest fighting fans given their choice of platform, and they were like me. They noticed that some fights were over faster than others, but maybe they were just like, hey, maybe that's just the game.
Yeah, and some of the moves are super duper ridiculously cheap too. So it is what it is. Now here's something I thought was interesting. So remember we talked about the people that made this game, Naps. The team is the oldest Italian development team, which I believe Italians also did Fighting Spirit, didn't they, as I recall?
That seems like they did.
Yeah. So it was started in 1993 by Fabio Capone. What a name!
Yeah, man.
And Domenico Barba.
They know how to name.
And this was their first game, and it was successful. As far as that goes. But these guys are still around. Believe it or not.
I saw that they have a Facebook page.
Yeah.
And they were sort of teasing a new version of this game. I don't know if anything ever came of it.
Well, so they've done 45 games. Now, tell me if you've heard. I just wrote down a few. They've worked on every system. I mean, everything from phones, Windows, PS4, PS3, everything. So right now they've got a game coming out called, I think it's called Maria the Witch. They did a game called Deadeye Jim, WW2, Battle Over Pacific, WW1, Aces of the Sky, Gakido Advance, Rage Ball, Gakido, and Sniper Assault. I've never heard any of these games, but that doesn't mean...
It doesn't mean they're bad.
They could be European exclusives or whatever. But I thought it's kind of neat that that this is the game that launched their company, and the company's still around. So, and apparently this game did okay, I was amazed at how popular it was on Lemon. Like there were no naysayers or anyone bad mouthing it. That's pretty rare, even with really successfully scored games. To get to the scores and I just looked over a few of the CD32 reviews. Lemon gave the CD32 version an 8.41. That's huge. They gave the AGA version an 8.1 and the OCS an 8.1. So all those over 8. Amiga Computing US Edition 1 gave this a 91. By the way, I can't find any US release for this, so if it was released over here, I can't find it. Amiga Format gave it an 89, and Australian AUI gave it an 89. So, and I looked over scores for the AGA version. They were all in the 80s, upper 80s and 90s, and so was the OCS. So, popular game, but just a fundamental flaw for me. That's just me. Any final thoughts?
Like I said, I enjoy this game a lot. I may have to go back and play Fighting Spirits again, just to refresh my memory. But I really liked it. Really liked it.
Just closing the door. eBay on this. Again, there were no U.S. copies. The CD32 version you can get for $12 U.S. in the U.K., $63 in the U.K. That they had and these are for the CD cases. In Germany, they had the boxed version, and I couldn't tell if it was the AGA or the OCS for $34, $35, $48. In the UK, you could get the box ones too. So they were out there. That wasn't like it was super rare to get. You're probably gonna be paying somewhere between, if you want the box version, between 20 and 50, 60 bucks, something like that. So there you go. I will say it was. I thought it was going to be absolute garbage. It was not.
Aaron, last week we didn't have a Patreon song.
Yeah, what happened to that? Oh, that's right. You did something to humiliate me.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that you knew. Now, did you remember Figgy CTZ after?
I know Figgy. We talk about. I will end you, sir. In 3 fireballs.
We have a new Patreon supporter. Just signed on today. We want to welcome Retro Man Cave to the fold.
Look at that. That's great.
Yeah,
that's great.
I
love your stuff.
As always, with this song, if you know the Patreon song, you can send me an email at john@amigospodcast.com, and I will read your name as a winner if you guess correctly. So, here we go.
Oh, God. Looks like you're throw up a hairball.
I'm establishing a groove.
Is that what you're doing?
Retro Man Cave, Tim Drew, Daniel Williams, Robert Edgerton III, Simon Rose, Joseph Harrison, Khaled Rob O'Hara, Howard Nibbs, Matthew Larimore, Andy Craig, Sean Zoe, Darren Lomax, calling 419, Buckbeard, Roland Burke, Andrew Monks, Joe the Zombie, John Cook, Dan Ross, Leaf Kellon, Alan Kebab, Checo de Levelon, John Marshall, yeah.
It's like Paul Bear.
Matthew Powell.
Oh, yes.
Ricky DeRocha, Creepy Dead Boy.
Oh, yes.
Fig Z, The Slow Norris, Stefford Sogarden Mortensen, Edmund Helen, Blender 75, Christopher Hassel, Ravi Abbott, Chris Falls, Dreamcatcher Longeroom, Graham Vepke, Brent Dowdy, Lane Denson, Adam Battersby, O'Brien's Retro, and Vintage Gary Hucker, see Brian Jones, Paul Harrington, Duncan Styles, Alan Kebab, Anthony Jambis, Tapes from the Crib, Josh Nan, Adam Bradley, Jonas Rouleau, and THT, Eric Nelson, Kim Tommy Humberstad, Daniel Bankston, Brutal Butter, Codal Dare, Jason Darren, Coles, Jason Wards, Pixels at Dawn, and Kjolbjorn Barman.
Man, what was that?
That was your favorite band. That was ABBA.
That sounded like some AM Gold right there.
Some Easy Rock Paradise.
Break. That may be the worst thing I've ever heard. I'm not going to lie to you.
Well, Aaron, next week, deck the halls, jingle those bells. It's time for our annual Christmas show.
It is.
It is. Next
You're
week,
right. Holy smokes.
Isn't that crazy? It's upon us
I'm so
already.
far behind.
It's
I'm so
upon
far
us.
behind, Boat.
We're going to be playing 2 classic Christmas Amiga titles. Fire and Ice Christmas Edition.
Fire and Ice. Remember that? Pat Benatar?
Sister Christian.
Sister Christian's a song from a band called Night Ranger.
Yeah.
Fire and Ice is a song from Pat Benatar.
It's like the same thing.
As Brent used
It's
to
like a
call her,
supergroup.
Pat Nebitar. He couldn't get the last name. Yeah.
What is a Nebitar?
Man, I don't know. I don't want to know.
There's a question for ARG.
It's a minotaur with 2 butts, or a centaur.
We're also going to be playing Christmas Lemmings.
Oh, okay. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So
I played that one.
Thanks as always to the Amigos Game Selection Committee.
They're wise.
For choosing this game for us.
And we're not going to be playing the Christmas Maria game.
No Christmas Maria.
I'll be playing that one on my own time.
That is the Amigos After Dark portion. Thanks as always to all of the folks hanging out with us in the chat. And on YouTube, we have The Future Was 8-Bit, Ricky DeRocher, Craig McClellan, Necronom, Jason Warnes, Pishbot, nice to see you, Pishbot, Retro Man Cave. Let's see, just a whole ton of folks.
See what Retro wrote.
Picard 2005
He just
here.
he revoked it after that. I knew when you led the song with his name, I was like, man, I think he's canceling that check right now, calling up the bank.
So, as always, we record on Friday nights around 5:30ish Eastern. We hope you will join us for our Christmas show next week, and in 2 weeks, our Amigos New Year's Eve Spectacular. It's going to be off the chain
Drunken
and the
mayhem.
hook. Yes.
Yeah.
So, guys, thanks as always for listening. Keep on playing the Amiga. We'll see you next week. Adios.
Adios. What happened to until then? Do
Did
it
I
again.
forget about until
do
then?
It again.
Okay. Until then, adios.
I'll do it again. Keep it going. One more time.
That's it. I'm done. All right.
Hey, before you guys go.
Well, they're not going anywhere.
I know. Well, I mean, some of them
too.
leave right now. That's
Do
what I'm
they?
gonna tell- Yeah, because I wanted to tell you, we're doing a test live stream.
Did you not announce this on the last show?
No, because we're not ready yet. But
You
well,
gave
hold
me
on.
this whole
Listen
thing
to me.
about.
Can I announce this?
Go ahead.
Don't get your sweater vest at a twist.
I'm already upset.
So this coming Sunday at about 9 a.m. Eastern time. What is that in the UK, Boatster? 9 a.m.
It's about like 12 or 1.
Right. We're going to run a test stream of ARG Presents Live. It's going to be live. If anyone cares to come in and see if we can get this thing going, because theoretically, in 2 weeks, we're going to go for a live Christmas show on ARG, same time. And so we're going to, but this week, I thought about this. I was like, we better make sure we can actually do this before I announce that we're doing it. So that's what this week is. So if anyone cares, hop in around noon UK time or 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Help us out. We appreciate it. There you go. That's a little something for the live people.
The Future Was 8-Bit. No, I have not had a chance to play Rodman yet. I have been non-stop going this week. It's been a very busy week, but I promise you that within the next week, I will play Rodman, and I will also pass it along to Aaron. This is The Future Was 8-Bit, who is one of our Patreon folk. He is the inventor of the SD card solution for the ZX Spectrum. It's an SD card reader and a joystick port that plugs into the back of the Becky. Yeah,
that's outstanding.
And he also sent us this. He's a publisher and a programmer. He pretty much just runs the show over there at Retro 8-Bit. And he sent me a game, and I'll send it over to you. It's called Rodman. It's a combination of Bomberman and help me out here. The Future Was 8-Bit. Is it Bomberman and Rodland? Anyway, it sounds cool.
I like Rodland.
And you hate Bomberman.
Well,
so
I can tolerate Bomberman. Free game. I'll take it. That sounds great. Hey, well done, Future. How do you find the time, brother? I don't know how you even do a Pac-Man. Even better.
Pac-Man, right. Pac-Man,
man.
yeah. So,
I got to try this. That's great. Beautiful. What do you got? What's on the tap for us in this next bit here,
Well, we're going to talk about the...
yeah, me too, Craig.
We're going to talk about the Capcom. We're going to talk about the Capcom.
Oh, I got to get my list up, don't I?
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll look like a schmuck. We don't want that. Let me see here. Did we talk about that on Discord or on the chat?
That was on Discord.
Okay. God bless. Thank God for these modern devices that keep me from looking dumb. We don't want that. Entertain the people, Bo, with your antics. That's it. But your song this week.
Man,
what the heck
I thought
was
you liked that.
I had no idea what you were doing.
It was a beautiful.
I was wondering if it was a song. I couldn't quite tell. I was like, "What is that?"
We've already got a correct response. Necronom already in there.
Someone said they had it instantly. I was like, "How's that possible?"
Well, when you're locked in to really, you know, what I like to call the upper wavelengths, it's a place where I like to inhabit.
I don't want to be locked into that, given what I just heard. I love it. That's the next T-shirt right there, I'm telling you. Okay, so, yeah. Now, I'm going to discuss our discussion. I'm ready.
Okay.
I got the Gambletron ready to go.
So, Aaron, we've got Capcom. They've already made a Street Fighter II cabinet, 1-up cabinet.
Yes.
But they've got a huge back catalog, over 150 games.
Yeah.
You know, what would you like to see, and what do you think Capcom should consider when they make their next 1-up arcade machine? Because these things are selling well. I have a feeling they're going to keep churning these things out.
Are they selling well?
Yeah, they really are.
I mean,
I've been frequenting the Reddit.
Oh,
you
yeah?
know, the source of information.
Aren't those people all crazy?
They're crazy and accurate.
Okay, they're crazy accurate. Okay.
And so, you know, what do you think that Capcom needs to consider when they're building their next Arcade 1-up cab?
Well, if you're going to do a Capcom, we discussed this a little bit. I put it in two different categories because Capcom games, they have their vertical games and their horizontal games, and if you're going to do a cabinet, you're going to want to do games that share a similar button layout, similar controls, and a similar screen orientation.
Now, you say that when you say, oh, I definitely want the trackball one that definitely has Crystal Castles and Centipede on the same machine.
Right.
Which is a horizontal and a vertical game.
I understand what you're saying, but listen, it's just the way I think. I'd like to have it, if I'm going to instruct Capcom, I wouldn't do that.
So you'd rather not have a classic game just because it happens not to be the monitor orientation that you want.
Also, there's another difference. First of all, I'm not even. Are you sure that Crystal Castles is a horizontal?
I'm positive.
I can even remember since I played it. Hey, my list, my rules.
Okay.
My rules are it's an all horizontal Capcom explosion.
Okay. Tell me your rules. Tell me your thoughts.
So, I just picked out some games here that I thought would go good on a Capcom machine with a horizontal monitor. Now, keep in mind also that I've steered clear of games that have licenses.
Okay.
All right.
For reasons that are
for licensing
unknown to you.
reasons. Now, I've heard that they are on these 1-up arcades. They're going to be doing. I've heard there's a Mortal Kombat one in the works. I've heard a couple other ones that would probably be pretty cool. But I just don't see these guys wanting to pay for the licenses from like films and stuff, because Capcom did a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of games you could put on a machine.
What licensed Capcom games are you thinking about?
Aliens comes to mind.
That was a popular Capcom arcade machine?
Absolutely. It's a popular game, the Alien game.
What?
Alien versus Predator
I have
game.
never once seen that in an arcade, ever in my life.
Listen, I'm telling you, it's a popular
You're saying you were
shoot 'em up. Another one me and my kid love to play, Cowboys of Moo Mesa. That's a licensed game. Now, that's not a Capcom game, but I'm saying these are games just because you haven't heard about.
This is such a.
Here's another one. Another game that is popular, a good cult game. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, Capcom game.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Oh, so you'll give me that, but
yes,
Aliens versus Predators.
And I also won't give you the Cowboys of Moo Mesa, which is not a Capcom game.
It's not, but I'm just saying it's a popular. I looked at games that were not licensed games.
It was
they don't
not a hard
licensing.
thing to find.
Dude, they did listen, Willow was a Capcom game that was licensed.
Classic.
Some people like. Listen, your tastes are your own. Some people like this stuff. I can't wait to hear your list.
Okay.
So here are the games I picked. Now these games all have two. They all have two joysticks and each have 2 buttons. So you'd be looking at all these games would be 2.
So another thing you were looking at is having the same control scheme for all the games.
That's right.
Okay.
That was because again, it cuts down on cost.
Sure.
It makes it simpler for the humanoids. Okay. So I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna pick one, and then you can give me one of yours. We'll go back and forth.
Okay.
So the first one I picked is pretty obvious. I went with Final Fight. Final Fight, great game, classic beat 'em up, side-scrolling beat 'em up game. It still looks good. It plays well. It's a fun game, and it's got people know what it is. And it would probably be your top game on my list. If you're going to make the cabinet look like one of these games, the cabinet would look like a Final Fight game for me. So what did you pick as your tippity top?
Well, I also chose Final Fight as my tippity top game. I think that is the most classic, sort of pseudo-modern Capcom release. It defined the beat 'em up genre to a greater or lesser extent. The characters in Final Fight, Cody, Guy, the chick, they're recognizable
Cody,
figures.
Guy, and Hagar. The chick is the one that got kidnapped.
Oh, okay.
There's
yeah,
no
Hagar. I was
chick.
thinking about Hagar.
He's the best one.
So, they've continued on into different games and things. So, Final Fight, definitely, it's got to be #1 with Bullet.
Right. So, that was an easy one. The next one on my list, Knights of the Round. Great game. I used to play at the arcade back in Lexington. Again, you pick your knight and you go out and fight stuff in Arthurian times. Cool game. Lots of fun. 2-player simultaneous. You run around with your swords, fight dragons and stuff. Again, none of these games reinvent the wheel. It's another side-scrolling beat 'em up. Have you ever played Knights of the Round?
No.
It's a fun game. You used to play it all the time. I believe it actually supports, some of these games support 3 players, but I believe that one's one of the ones that supports at least 3 players.
Now, what does Knights of the Round bring to the table that Final Fight doesn't?
Well, it's a different type of beat 'em up. Listen, what is the difference between beat 'em ups? They're all pretty much the same.
Which is why I only chose one beat 'em up in my list.
Well, I chose all beat 'em ups because I thought this is my beat 'em up cab.
Okay,
That's what I'm doing.
Okay, well, my second game was 1943. This is your classic vertical shooter World War II Capcom game. It pretty much, this is one of the games that people think of when you think of what's a game where you're flying around and you're blowing stuff up. Of course, the first games you think of are the Galaga, Galaxian, those kind of games. But if you think about a modern or a contemporary setting, World War II, this is it. This is it. 1943. It was everywhere. You still see it at laundromats everywhere. There's no reason.
You do? I haven't seen one of these in the arcade for decades.
When was the last time you were in a laundromat?
Well, I admit it. When was the last time you were in one?
Man, I'm there all the time.
Yeah, right.
So, 1943, my next game.
1943.
Definitely, I can't imagine shelling out $300 for a cabinet that only plays one genre of game.
This is my themed cabinet.
Okay. Go on. What is your third game?
So, next on the docket, Black Dragon. The high fantasy beat 'em up. Again, not reinventing the wheel. You pick your character, you go around, you beat stuff up. This one is not really like Knights of the Round. It's more of I guess it's more of a D&D-ish.
I was going to say, does this one incorporate any of those RPG elements that the D&D games did?
No. Absolutely not.
Okay.
Those came years. And for the record, another Capcom licensed game that would be great on a beat 'em up would be the D&D games. But again, I'm going on the assumption they're not going to pay for these licenses. I can make a list up right now of licensed beat 'em ups I'd like to have in. Alien vs. Predator would be on there. Both the D&D games would be on there right away. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs would be on there. That'd be a tight machine right there. But again, I set my rules, and the rules are no licenses, so I'd go with Black Tiger. What do you got?
My next one is Ghouls and Ghosts. This is a classic platformer. I think it's the oldest game. Maybe 1943 is older. But this is, if you have these 3 games, if you have Final Fight, 1943, and Ghouls and Ghosts, then you have a platformer, you've got a shooter, and you've got a beat 'em up.
Yep.
You're covering all your bases. Ghouls and Ghosts, notable for its difficulty. However, the arcade version, in some ways, is easier than its console version. So, plus you can keep pumping quarters.
That game is so brutally hard.
It is. It's very difficult.
So my last, and I don't have a problem with that one. That one's good, and also iconic in a way. But I mean, it's so hard that I wonder how much people are going to get, how much pleasure people are going to derive from just because of the difficulty.
That's a fair point.
So the last of my picks on my horizontal beat 'em up cab is Battle Circuit. Battle Circuit's a cool game where you run around, you fight robots, you get in robot like mech type robots, and you run around and beat stuff up. It's got a little flavor from Alien vs. Predator, where there are parts of it you can do that in. But it's different from the other games. It's a science fiction-y type world, but it's a lot of fun too. That one would be my fourth and final choice. Now, I know what you're going to say, but go ahead and finish your things, and we'll have our final thoughts on that.
Okay, so my last game is a puzzle game.
Okay.
Platformer, shooter, beat 'em up, puzzle.
Is it Quiz and Dragons?
It's not Quiz and Dragons, although that is a fantastic game.
Update all the trivia and sports data.
That would be great. This is Super Puzzle Fighter 2. This ties in with the Street Fighter 2 license. The Street Fighter 2 cab has been probably one of their biggest selling cabs in the Arcade1Up thing. Super Puzzle Fighter 2 is a great puzzle game. It features the kind of cutesy version, the chibi versions of the Street Fighter 2 guys, and it is a diamond type puzzle game where you're dropping gems of different colors and they're blowing up and you've got combos and things like that. It's a fun two-player experience, and it's one of those games that even if you have somebody in your household or somebody comes over that's not a big gamer, they'll still get into it because they can understand how the colors work. You know, you match the colors and you do harm to your enemy.
I never liked this game. I've never liked it. I've never been good at it.
Those two are probably connected.
It just didn't do it to me. You know, it doesn't do it. It's a lot like Bomberman. People love it. I'm not bad mouthing. Don't get me wrong. It's a perfectly fine, reasonable choice. I'm just not good at it. And so your mileage may vary on that. I don't like it. But I mean, people love it. And I think they made more than one. They're like the turbo or whatever.
There's the turbo version and the normal.
So I don't know. So I guess just a moment to talk about philosophies on these things. Your machine definitely has probably more notable games for people like us that have heard of games. But my guess is that the majority of these games, a lot of the people that would be buying these machines probably haven't heard of most of them. And I'm sure the games that are being sold out there now, except for the ones that have the bit like your Pac-Man stuff. I mean, if you look at the trackball game, even the most prominent one being like, say, Centipede, a lot of people probably have no. I mean, think about how long ago it's been since that stuff came out. And we live in a bubble of people that know all about games and they remember all these games from their youth. But a lot of these people that are maybe buying these for their kids or something, I don't think the kids are going to know anything about it. And like for example, on the Vector game, you've got Major Havoc on there. A couple of those. Like I would love to see the guy that had ever played a Major Havoc. I don't think I ever saw one in an arcade. I saw it in a home collection.
Well, I think the buying it for your kid angle is the same as it is everywhere, where I'm buying this for my kid, which is code for I'm buying this for myself and saying it's for my kid.
When I say that, that sort of plays into why I made these selections. One thing about beat 'em ups, they've got one thing. All of them have one thing in common. They're all simple. They're all easy to pick up. They're all multiplayer, and they all are kid friendly. My kid will play, and this is where I got the idea for this when we talked about doing lists. My kid will play any beat 'em up. We've tried them all. We've tried them all. And I think if you get a nice broad selection of beat 'em ups, you've got a bunch of them there. You've got a cabinet that'll be fun. Now, is there an expiration date when you just get sick of running through these adventures over and over? Yes, there is if you played enough. But I think it would still sell pretty well, my opinion. So, and I think your choices are good. Just the logistics of them, again, I was going for something that was. Yeah, it's the engineer in me, which same orientation, same joystick setup.
So just so we're clear, the joystick setup is not an issue. Both of these games are 1 or 2 button games.
Right.
There's no special controls, and there already is an Arcade1Up cabinet with multiple monitor orientations.
Again, that's cool.
So the engineers in them, the ones actually making it, didn't see a problem with it.
Listen, you found one game on one machine. I'm just telling you that you're not going to see horizontal games on the Galaga, for example. I mean, they're not going to do it. I like to have the screen be in the right orientation. That's just me. Most people are like me, I think.
I think they are.
Something I wanted to mention before we break off this is that somebody, I don't know if you heard about this, but I want to talk about the legality of it, I guess. Some guy wired up, apparently some of the 1UP arcade machines have points on them that are labeled for a USB port. And someone wired up a USB port, stuck a USB keyboard in it, and hit the tab button, and sure enough, the machine was running MAME and MAME ROMs. I'm pretty sure that this is way, way out of bounds. The MAME is an open source project. You're not supposed to commercially sell anything on it. So even if they bought the ROMs, even if they licensed the ROMs from, let's say, Namco or wherever, I don't think they've got any legal right to use MAME. What do you think? Maybe you're...
Well, I think that the general rule with emulators is that they're not supposed to be used for commercial reasons. However, that's not to say that, like, okay, say that they are using MAME. Is the MAME legal team going to attack? I mean, I don't know if there's any sort of repercussions that can happen as a result of this. I don't think that the open source emulator community has much of a leg to stand on, considering the main use of these things is to promote illegal material being played on them. I think that the MAME community and the MAME developers at large are probably going to let this one lie, seeing that the game developers of the Arcade1Up machines have paid license fees for these ROMs.
So what you're saying is it's illegal, but it's okay.
It's like speeding.
You know, as I recall, a few years ago, a gentleman copywrote the name MAME.
I'm sure that he did.
And as I recall, there was litigation to make that not happen.
Yeah, did you hear about any of the results of the litigation?
Yeah, it didn't happen. He did not. And I believe, I'm trying to think what exactly happened with the name. So, I mean, listen, some lawyer could take that case up and have a pretty decent shot. Again, who would he represent? How would it work? I don't know. About
exactly.
But I mean, we're both, neither one of us are lawyers.
MAME is not a company. It's not like Apple. It's a bunch of dudes in their basements.
Well, listen, these are high-level programmers and stuff. A lot of them that work on this. It's not like they're just a bunch of goofs out there.
I'm not saying they're goofs,
but I'm
you're
sort of deriding them. Well, these are a bunch of goofs in their basements. No,
that's exactly who they are.
No, these are high-level guys. This is just a side job they do. We don't know what they do, what kind of cheddar they got in real life. They might want to call it. I'm just saying it's not necessarily the right thing to do. Listen, I hear this all the time. People getting on. Listen, remember when the RetroCon came out? It was using emulation. It wasn't supposed to, and it was a big outcry. I'm just thinking there's probably going to be an outcry because of this.
I'm sure there'll be an out. I mean, you can't. Not a week can go by when there's not an outcry.
Yeah, but this is a legitimate outcry. It's not
is it?
I think it is. Yeah, I think these guys, you know. And the funny thing is, not all the machines run. You can't. Doesn't work on all the machines. Some of them have apparently, like I believe it was Galaga. I'm trying to think the other one. There's a couple that had that ran custom emulation. They did themselves. So I don't know if the ones that are using MAME or their first batch that they did, or they changed over or whatever. Maybe they got the message. I don't know. I still think it's interesting.
It's definitely a story worth following. I just think that if you tried to pursue serious litigation against whoever the MAME people are, I think it would end pretty soon, because MAME is not an entity like suing an individual or a corporation is.
I think they do have some legal recourse. The only reason I say it's because I'm pretty sure that there's been some action in the past. Not to mention, man, the bottom of the truth is why do it? You know.
Well, they do it because it's easy.
You know, and that's it's kind of crummy, to be honest with you. It's okay for people to do this and get paid. It just seems like a double standard on that stuff. I hate to see them get ripped off, and it happens over and over and over. The PlayStation Mini runs on an open source emulator as well. I doubt. I mean, you're not supposed. As far as I know, you're not supposed to sell this stuff. That's my point.
And again, I don't know the exact legality, because there are different kinds of open source licenses too. And so I don't know if one applies to all. I really think that the PlayStation, since the emulator itself is basically a reverse engineered Sony system, I don't know. I think that the MAME guys and the Arcade1Up guys probably have less of a leg to stand on than Sony, because Sony's basically saying, listen, you took the code that we had and reverse engineered it to work on a system that we never intended it to. We're taking it. We don't care, because this is our code.
I do wonder if there was a deal was struck on that one, because I haven't heard much people talking about that. Maybe there was maybe deals were struck, but listen, there's an end result to this that you haven't considered. Okay, and the end result could very well be, and I've not heard anything, but I know if it was me, it's what I would do. In these two instances and in multiple instances, the hard work done by people has been exploited. And the people that did all the work, the guy that wrote the drivers for the Pac-Man or whatever the MAME was that they used, he didn't see a dime. for this. All right. So what's the end result? You just stop working on emulation. Be done with it. And if enough people do that, you could pull out some of your best guys. You know, maybe the emulation community suffers.
Maybe so.
Really, it's the only recourse that they have, short of litigation.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
And they probably, if a guy said, "Listen, I'm sick of, this a big corporation like Sony or whoever runs 1UP, I'm sick of these guys making money off my labor. It took me a year of hard work to get this driver running, so I'm done." What are you going to say to them? Say, "Thank you, I don't blame you." That's all you can say. Yeah. It'd be fun to talk to one of these guys that worked on some of these drivers and see what they think. Maybe they don't care. I don't know.
Yeah. All right, that's it.
See you later.
See if anybody's left in the chat. So it says, okay, here we go, Ricky's. Look at that. Can I include MAME with my product? Yes. So.
Yeah, but did you read the rest of that?
Yeah.
Did they get that? Did anyone do anything? Has anyone looked into it? Aren't you? I find
here's the way that it works, though. Nobody checks to see if any deal was struck. They just immediately go into outrage mode.
No one has said a word about it. I've not heard one single person mention this, and that's why I mentioned it. I've not heard anyone complain about it. I mean, listen, I'm a dirty, rotten, filthy, stinking pirate, right? ROM hoarding scumbag. So it's not like I can come out here and take a holier-than-thou attitude about it, right? But it is something that's interesting to me.
It is interesting, and I think that because this is not this is something being sold at Walmart. This isn't
absolutely
and so I feel like in all likelihood they would have crossed their I's and dotted their T's, as it were, before.
These are the same people that let you wire up a keyboard and hit tab or hit escape on a Sony. I mean, clearly this.
But I mean, you can't just plug in a thing. You have to run those wires and all that stuff. It's not like they put an exposed USB-A port.
They did. They put a port on there. All you have to do is put a port in it. They put a thing to do it. I'm just saying. I wonder. Something that surprises me is how shaky these things are. I mean, they have done little to protect their stuff, including Nintendo. I'm baffled by that one the most, that they would allow this stuff to happen. Everything in it is totally non-Nintendo.
I think it's because they make their money on the selling of the unit. Once the unit's out the door, then they've made their money. Because if you want to play the ROMs, you can play the ROMs. The ROMs are out there. Like Nintendo.
For us.
Now it's not as easy as it used to be.
But these aren't made for us. These are made for this is the money-making thing.
Right, and I guarantee you 99% of the people that buy SNES and NES Classics do not hack them. It's only the bubble that we exist in where you have people hacking them up.
I don't know. I can't say one.
There's no way that you can know for sure.
The only way, well, you could get a good idea.
How could you do that?
Like this week, the PSP got busted wide open.
Right.
For example, not PSP, the PlayStation Portable.
I know what you mean.
And I'd heard sales were lagging. Okay, and this is just
again,
what I've heard.
It's all hearsay.
It is. But the only way you could tell is, did sales, there's always that thing, when something gets hacked, do the sales increase because it's a wide open system? Do you think, listen, Nintendo and Super Nintendo are bad examples. They were going to sell anyway it went.
Right.
Okay? But stuff like the PSP or the retro arcade thing I've got, that when people hacked into that, does that make a difference to these little guys, the retro cons and all those other guys? Does it make a difference?
And we'll never know, because those people don't have to release sales numbers or anything like that. And so, you can speculate, and speculation's fun, but you can't say, well, because this thing was easy to hack or because this thing was impossible to hack, it sold better or worse.
One thing, all I know for certain, and
I know they were blowing out those retro arcades at TJ Maxx. You get like 14 or 15 bucks. Those things that you have, that thing that you have.
No, not that cheap. They weren't, because those things they're online right now, still selling for the exact same price.
Go over to TJ Maxx.
The white ones.
I have no. It's the thing that looks like the thing that you have that's got all the games on it.
They got them right now for that.
Yeah.
I'll go buy 50 of those. Those things are great. Would you put an SD card in them? I was surprised that you were so cavalier about the possibility of these emulation authors getting
part of that
off.
was just trying to be argumentative and combative.
Why? I don't want to fight.
I love fighting.
I've known people that contributed to their main project. And I've even contributed some art back in the day, long ago.
What did you do art for?
Oh God, what was it? I just had to have something on a hard drive that I'd taken a scan of one of my circuit boards. I'm trying to think what it was. It may have been, God, I think it was something like Main Event or something. And I don't know if they can use it, but I mean, I'm not saying I'm a contributor for Main. What I'm saying is I've talked to people that were, and a lot of these guys are real touchy about that stuff. They're real touchy. I mean, and it's a lot like the.
It's like the coin ops guy, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and these people put a lot of work in it. Remember when I sold that thing? I should have mentioned that. He went crazy because I made all that money on that, and their eyes on the backs of their work.
Right. But at the end of the day, they whine and complain, but nothing changes. A new version of coin ops is still coming out.
Well, not on the Xbox.
because people can't help but work on this stuff because that's what keeps them going.
I don't agree with that. Okay. People have quit. Plenty of people have quit.
Okay. But people quit, but people take their place.
What are you basing your opinion on?
Because I can go out and get anything.
Have you been entrenched in the emulation scene for 30 years?
Because I can go out and get anything I want at any time, and it's the best version. That's what I'm basing my opinion on. Everything that's available now is the best version. But it's all been built in the backs of the people that have been building it for 20, 25 years. That's how the business works. When somebody quits, somebody else takes their place.
There are still things out there that aren't properly emulated.
And things I don't care about.
What, N64? The emulation's not even close to perfect on that.
It's perfect enough for me.
No, it's not.
I can sit here and play anything I want in perfect resolution and perfect frame rate on my PC.
Incorrect. I guarantee you I can find games on the N64 you can't play
None
perfectly.
of which I would be interested in playing.
That's your personal preference.
Right, that's what we're talking about. But we're talking about my personal preference.
You're telling me you can find any game for any system that'll work perfectly right now.
Any game that I'd want to play.
I'm going to call you for some ROMs then, my friend.
Okay.
Because you must have access to some stuff I don't got.
What are you looking to play that you can't
Saturn
play?
emulation still is a little bit wonky. You know, there's
but you can burn Saturn games and play them in
That's
Saturn.
not emulation.
I don't
not
care.
Everyone has a
I can play anything I want at any time.
No, you're just still being argumentative. You're just trying to get me pissed off, and you're not using common sense.
Well, here's the thing. Okay, there's nothing. Your point of view is that people quit the emulation scene and the scene suffers because of it.
No, I'm not. That's not. I'm saying that could happen, and it has happened.
What I'm saying is that people quit the emulation scene all the time, and the scene doesn't suffer because there's tons of other people that are looking to get some of the spotlight themselves, and they carry it forward.
It doesn't always work that way. I'll give you an example.
Look, Pishbot, Saturn is flawless in RetroArch.
The coin ops guy no longer does emulation on the Xbox.
It's because the Xbox is like 100 years old now.
That's not the point. I'm saying that now with him gone, that effectively will because there are still plenty of flaws in that.
Well, no one cares.
They do care. There are tons of people that have Xboxes. I remember I used to love this guy that made tables for virtual pinball. They were great, and he stopped making them. He got pissed off, and his artistic endeavors and his programming of get everything right is now lost to the public.
The pinball stuff is a totally different thing because you're talking about physically drawing and recreating things. It's not emulation. That is a work of art.
Well, no, they also set up all the
physics and stuff like that.
Yeah,
that is a totally different thing than emulation. You're basically programming a table yourself. I don't count that. You're right. In the pinball world, if somebody quits that's good at that, they are not a dime a dozen.
And also, I mean, you've also got stuff like your people that work on the fighting game emulation. Those guys, you know, you'll lose guys that are very good at that sort of thing. They're good at balancing and doing the correct art. The Mugen guys.
Mugen's a joke.
Oh, listen to you. Mugen's really good. Look, Edwin's got restricted here. He said something so horrible.
Yeah, he retracted his own. I can't. When he retracts it, I can't see it.
You can say it. Boat's wrong. It's all right. We know he is, and he'll fight here until the day is long.
Look at that.
You just like to fight. I'm not trying to fight. I'm trying to be serious. I think when you take someone else's work like that, I mean, on a grand scale, it's hurtful. It's the wrong thing to do. These guys worked hard, and yeah, someone maybe comes in and fills in the gap, but it doesn't make it right. I mean, I remember back in the old days of MAME, these guys were working hard to get these drivers out. They were tough. It's tough. They were cracking encryption and stuff. You know, and now someone can come along and just yoink their stuff. I would be appalled if I was one of the guys.
What if you were the guy that programmed Pac-Man and tons of people out there are yoinking your stuff and they're playing games for free all on your hard work? Is that somehow okay?
It's absolutely wrong.
Okay, so it's a double standard. You have your
No,
own
I
double
told you.
standard.
No, it's not double standard.
Because you're feeling all this pain for the emulation programmer, but you feel no pain for the programmer.
Can I not sympathize with? I can sympathize with them both.
But you're doing a whole lot more sympathizing with the emulation
Listen, I
guys.
came totally clean. I'm the only one that does it. I'm the only one that comes clean. I totally said my piece.
I'll come clean.
But what I'm saying is, for big corporations like Sony or whoever the 1UP people are to come in and grab someone's work, an amalgamation of people's work that people worked on, and then use it for profit, it's kind of crummy.
Well, if they're legally able to do it, if they're not breaking any agreement, and like you said, we haven't heard anything that says that they're not, then there's no repercussions. I mean, when the guys make these versions of MAME, they know full on that maybe something like this could happen.
I will say, Edvin just typed in that it's better to run on a rich hardware. Me and Luke have been playing that N64 EverDrive this week. Mm-hmm. It is great. I mean, if you're into N64, which I'm not a huge N64 fan, but I like it so much more. And I'm not one of these people that demand stuff be on actual hardware either. I know you've mentioned that, but I'm not that bad about that. I've never said that. But N64 it's real tough to get right. I don't know what it is about that system.
Not only is it that, but it's also the controller is a very specific.
Well, you can use the controller in the PC. I got an adapter for that. That's no big deal. And the controller's shit. But it doesn't, and much like the TurboGrafx is the same sort of way with that, because it's controller, which I can't play on a PC. The little switches mean something, you know. You can't get but that it emulates perfectly. You know, don't get me wrong. But I mean, the N64 is one system I've really coveted one of those EverDrives on, and it makes a huge difference. It really does.
The thing that I like about N64 emulation is all of the HD texture packs and stuff like that, because the games do look a ton better. And again, I'm not playing, I guess, the ultra obscure games that you're playing, because everything I play runs great.
Listen, the texture packs, the hacks, I have no problem with the emulation. Don't get me wrong. But and the EverDrive's also, it's damn convenient.
Yeah, I think it's, if given the choice, I would always play on emulated, I would always play on original.
I got my memory card to get the EverDrive on the TurboGrafx. Christmas came early for me because I'm like loving it. Me and the kids sitting around last night playing all kinds of crazy stuff. The N64 is a real mixed bag. I mean, there's a lot of duds, and it didn't age well either. But there's some. I'm glad I got it because it's fun. The kid really enjoys it. And he likes all the Pokemon stuff and everything. Yeah, I know what you mean, Edvin. You know, I think they underpowered that thing a little bit. You know, trying to cut costs. But I just don't think Sony gave a damn about the PS Mini. Yeah. I mean, they've got so much money. Yeah. I just think they put it out there to make a quick buck, and I don't think they gave a crap. Like I said, Nintendo I find much more fascinating the fact that thing has been so thoroughly beat down and crushed and taken over. And they didn't have it because it didn't benefit them in any. It hurt them. It's what it did. It hurt them because now they can't really. I guess they can release another mini with different games or whatever, but you know this didn't help them in any way. So it surprised me that you could get away with it. And they said I saw a thing from Nintendo that said get these minis now because we're not. This is it. We're done with those. They released a statement the other day, and you never know, that could be bull crap, but maybe they're done. Yeah, Nintendo's weird, man. You never know what they're gonna do.
All right, guys, we're going to close it out.
Sorry, guys. I'm long-winded.
No, I'm glad we got a chance to talk about this. You never know. Maybe this will be the only discussion that people are having about this. So.
Surely not.
All right, guys. We'll see you next time.
Stop by Sunday.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.